Well, hello there everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the all-new Toyota Tacoma because we have some pretty big updates for the truck. But before we get in this video, as always, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. And then if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. Let's get into it. So I feel like this series on the new Tacoma has been going on forever, and that's because Toyota's taking forever to officially release this truck. But let's get into the information we know so far, and then let's dive into the new info that we have on the Tacoma. So the new Tacoma is going to be body on frame, just like the previous generation, and it's going to be built on the same platform that the new Tundra, Sequoia, and other body on frame Toyotas are built on. Obviously, that platform is going to have to be modified to work with the Tacoma because, well, it's quite a bit smaller than something like a Tundra, for example, but that's not too difficult for Toyota to figure out. So other things with this new Tacoma is it's going to have a solid rear axle with multi-link in the back end, and so this will be a mid-size truck with multi-link suspension. The only mid-size truck that currently has this setup that I know of is the new Ford Ranger Raptor, but outside of that, every other mid-size truck still utilizes leaf springs, and so this will be a game changer for the mid-size truck market, and I think that it'll push the other mid-size truck automakers to adopt, multi-link rather than, still using leaf springs in the back end. This Tacoma will still utilize independent front suspension, and when it comes to the packages on the Tacoma, it's going to basically look identical to what we have on the new Tundra. And so there is going to be, a base model like SR package, you have the SR5, and then you'll have, a TRD Sport package, which will be slightly lowered with sportier wheels, and literally just take all of the exterior style cues you have on the Tundra and just basically put it over onto this new Tacoma. Toyota is going for like a corporate style with their modern lineup. And then you'll have a limited, and you'll also have a TRD off-road as well as a TRD Pro. And with the TRD Pro, just like the new Tundra and Sequoia, it is going to adopt, Fox shocks. And, well, TRD Pros had that forever, but they're obviously going to be modified for this new Tacoma to be able to handle a little bit more. Expect ground clearance with that package to come in somewhere in the 9-inch range. Don't expect Toyota to massively increase ground clearance because they definitely did not do that with the Tundra or the Sequoia. And will this new Tacoma TRD Pro have tow hooks? Time will tell. We don't know this one. Hopefully Toyota doesn't make that mistake because it's such a weird thing that they've been doing there. But moving from that to the interior with this new Tacoma, basically just take the interior from the new Tundra and the Sequoia and shrink it down a little bit, and that's what the new Tacoma interior will look like. So it'll have the new infotainment system, two different options, right? The smaller screen and then the much larger screen. You'll have an analog gauge cluster as standard in the Tacoma, but with higher up packages like the TRD Pro, you'll have a digital gauge cluster with those packages. And then obviously they'll update the steering wheel and everything. Again, just kind of take the steering wheel you have in the Tundra and in the Sequoia, shrink it down a little bit, not a ton, because you don't have to really shrink a steering wheel too much. And that's what the steering wheel will be like in the Tacoma. And then aside from that, in terms of overall dimensions, the truck is looking like it's going to get not substantially, but slightly larger than the current Tacoma to provide a little bit more space in the cabin, but don't expect it to be like a massive change. Like it's roughly going to be about the same size as the current Tacoma is overall. Now the big news is with the powertrains. So at this point it is now confirmed that Toyota is going to put a turbocharged 2.4 liter 4-cylinder under the hood of the Tacoma, and that will be the base powertrain paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. It's going to put out somewhere around 300 horsepower, and it's going to put out over 300 pound-feet of torque. So this Tacoma will be more powerful than the outgoing model. Now when it comes to fuel efficiency, it will probably be better for the environment from an emissions standpoint, but it might not necessarily get any better gas mileage. If you look at the Tundra definitely had an improvement over, going from the V8 to the turbo V6. But, I feel like that transition was a little bit different compared to what we see with the Tacoma, because the 3.5 V6 that's currently in the Tacoma, it's not the most economical engine on the planet, but it's also not that bad from a fuel economy standpoint. And so we'll see what the official ratings will be, but I just wouldn't expect it to be like the best gas mileage Tacoma ever, and it's probably not going to be too different from the current version. Now, there will also be a hybrid version of this powertrain, so the 2.4 turbo paired to a hybrid system. That's going to be somewhere in like the 300 horsepower, like mid 300s for the horsepower, and then mid 300s for the torque as well. This will be an optional upgrade, and again, it's going to look just like the Tundra. So like in TRD Pro, the hybrid powertrain will be standard, but in something like an SR5, it's not going to be standard for the powertrain. And so you're going to be able to kind of pick and choose with the Tacoma. And this is, you know, big news, because with the Tundra, this is what you can do, but with the Sequoia, you can only get a hybrid. And I know this video is not about the 4Runner, but it looks like the 4Runner is going to be hybrid only at this point, which might make some of you upset, because again, Toyota's literally just following the same game plan as what they did with the Tundra and the Sequoia, right? And that leads us into the next bit of information, and that is talking about how the new Tacoma is going to come out before the new 4Runner. So 2024, that'll be the model year for the new Tacoma. 2025 will be the model year for the new 4Runner, so they're just doing a staggered release with both of the vehicles. And again, it makes sense because, well, with the 4Runner, it's only going to have the hybrid powertrain, whereas the Tacoma, it'll have both powertrain options. And the thing you need to note is the regular turbo 4-cylinder, that'll be available with, you know, early allocation. You're gonna have to wait to be able to get the turbocharged hybrid version of that powertrain, or sorry, just the hybrid powertrain. And then with the TRD Pro, just like what happened with the Tundra, that's also going to be later availability as well. And so like if you're looking at a Tacoma SR5 or Limited or something like that, those will be, I'm not saying they're going to be super easy, but those will be easier to get than something like a TRD Pro, for example. And then the other bit of big news is it looks like Toyota is considering doing a capstone version of the Tacoma. Now, this is still kind of up in the air at this point, because so far the capstone hasn't been all that popular in either the Tundra or the Sequoia. The TRD Pro has been the one that's been selling really well. And so Toyota's considering actually getting rid of that package and then just focusing on building more TRD Pros with those vehicles, actually. But with the Tacoma, just not doing capstone at all and just building more TRD Pros, which I think would be the route to go, because, you know, people don't really buy Toyotas for luxury. They buy them for the utilitarian purpose, and the TRD Pro is perfect for that. And so this, overall, it's great with the new Tacoma, and I'd say pretty big news. It's crazy. We're getting a turbocharged 4-cylinder Tacoma, and we're going to get it later this year in terms of the official announcement. In terms of trucks actually arriving at dealerships, I would expect that to happen sometime maybe at the end of this year, if we're lucky, but more realistically, it'll be the beginning of next year in terms of the initial deliveries with the truck. So that's going to sum things up for our update video on the Tacoma. If I get any new information, I will let you guys know, but let me know what you think about this new Tacoma having a 4-cylinder engine, 4-cylinder turbo at that as the base engine, and then having a turbo 4-cylinder hybrid as the upgraded powertrain. And, you know, the other things that Toyota's gonna be doing with the Tacoma, basically just going for like this whole corporate theme with all of their body and frame vehicles, where they're built on the same platform. They all have very similar exterior styling, very similar interiors, and the packaging is all the same. Like, do you like that, or do you think that Toyota should do something different where they kind of, you know, differentiate the models a little bit more? But anyways, with that being said, I'll see you.